You know, life is full of people, all kinds of people. Some inspire you, some test your patience, and some, well, they seem to specialize in pressing every button you have. But here's the truth, my friend. You can't control what people do. You can only control what you become. The goal isn't to eliminate annoying people from your life. It's to grow strong enough that they no longer have power over your peace. You see, emotions are powerful servants but terrible masters. They were given to us as signals, not steering wheels. Yet most people hand them the keys to their life. They let frustration dictate their tone, anger shape their actions, and hurt determine their future. But a person who can't control their emotions will always be controlled by circumstances. Mastery begins the moment you decide that your peace is more valuable than your reaction. When you feel that spark of anger rise, that boiling heat inside, remember, you don't have to answer to it. The first impulse is rarely the right one. That urge to shout, to prove, to strike back. That's the emotion testing your maturity. If you let it pass through you without letting it rule you, you grow stronger every time. Jim Rohn often said, "Don't let your emotions rule you. Learn to rule your emotions." That's wisdom worth writing down, because emotions are like the weather, constantly changing. You can't stop the rain, but you can bring an umbrella. You can't stop people from irritating you, but you can prepare your mindset before the storm hits. Every day, practice calmness. Practice patience. Practice the pause. If someone offends you, instead of reacting, pause and ask yourself, what's really going on here? Often, anger is not the real emotion. It's a mask. Beneath it lies fear, disappointment, or the feeling of not being respected. When you understand that, you begin to control the narrative instead of being controlled by it. The person who masters their emotions doesn't live a life without challenges. They simply stop giving challenges permission to break their peace. They respond with purpose, not impulse. They don't lash out when criticized, they learn. They don't collapse under stress. They breathe, think, and adjust. They don't get lost in temporary feelings. They keep sight of their long-term vision. When you master your emotions, you don't suppress them. You direct them. Anger can become determination. Fear can become focus. Frustration can become fuel. The energy that once caused destruction can now be used for construction. The same fire that burns can also light the way if you know how to use it. So, every time life pushes you, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask instead, "What is this teaching me about myself?" Because every situation that stirs your emotions is an opportunity for self-mastery. The more disciplined you become emotionally, the less anyone can disturb your peace. And that's the goal, not to be numb, but to be unshakable. Not to stop feeling, but to stop being ruled by feelings. Because the moment you master your emotions, you become the calm in every storm. And calm people always see further, think clearer, and win bigger. One of the greatest lessons you'll ever learn in life is this: people's behavior toward you says more about them than it ever does about you. We spend so much of our time wondering, why did they treat me like that? Why did they say that? But once you understand that people act from who they are, not who you are, you start to take things far less personally. Everyone you meet is acting out their own story. Their mood, their attitude, their kindness, or their rudeness is a reflection of their inner world. Some people have peace inside, so they speak with patience. Others carry chaos, so they spread it wherever they go. When someone is hurt, they often hurt others. When someone feels small, they try to make others feel smaller. And when someone feels insecure, they'll criticize, not because you did something wrong, but because it temporarily makes them feel right. Once you see this truth, everything changes. You stop reacting to people's behavior and start observing it. You begin to understand that not everyone has done the inner work you've done. Some people are still ruled by anger, envy, or fear, and they'll project that onto anyone nearby. So instead of taking offense, take a breath. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What must be going on inside them to act that way?" That shift in perspective turns frustration into understanding, and understanding into peace. Think about it. If a stranger came up to you and started yelling insults in a language you didn't understand, you wouldn't take it personally. You'd probably just feel puzzled and move on. The same goes for people who are angry, bitter, or unkind. They're speaking the language of their pain, not yours. Don't translate it as truth. Their words are about their wounds, not your worth. Jim Rohn often said, "We must all suffer one of two things, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret." The same principle applies here. You can suffer the pain of taking things personally, or you can practice the discipline of emotional detachment. Discipline says, "I choose to stay calm even when someone else is losing control." It's not arrogance, it's maturity. And understand this, when you refuse to be bothered, you don't make the other person right. You make yourself free. You take back control of your inner state. Because if anyone can push your buttons, you've handed them the remote control of your emotions. The truly strong learn to disconnect that remote. They stay steady, no matter how others act. The world is full of people acting from their level of growth, not yours. Some will misunderstand you. Some will judge you. Some will talk behind your back. That's not your problem. It's their reflection. Your responsibility is not to fix them, but to remain who you are. Keep your integrity when others lose theirs. Keep your calm when others choose chaos. Keep your light when others live in shadow. The next time someone tries to drag you into their storm, remind yourself, their behavior is about them. My response is about me. Because, at the end of the day, you don't rise above people by winning arguments. You rise by not needing to engage in them. That's how you maintain peace in a world that's lost its center. You stop mirroring others and start mastering yourself. When you truly live by this principle, no insult, rejection, or misunderstanding can shake you. You realize you are not a reflection of how people treat you. You are a reflection of how you choose to treat them. That's emotional freedom. That's strength. And that's how you stay unbothered in a world full of noise. Most people live in a constant state of judgment. They judge how others talk, how they dress, how they think, and even how they live. But judgment is heavy. It ties you to negativity, steals your peace, and blinds you from wisdom. When you live in judgment, you see only the surface of people, never their story. You become reactive, not reflective. But when you trade judgment for understanding, everything changes. You start seeing through the eyes of compassion instead of criticism. It's easy to judge someone who is rude, angry, or careless. But if you paused long enough to ask, what pain must this person be carrying? You'd begin to see things differently. Maybe that rude cashier is exhausted from working 2 jobs. Maybe that impatient driver just received bad news. Maybe that cold friend isn't heartless, they're just hurting. When you realize that every person you meet is fighting a battle you can't see, you stop reacting and start relating. Judgment says they shouldn't be that way. Understanding says maybe there's a reason they are. Judgment closes the heart. Understanding opens it. Judgment builds walls. Understanding builds bridges. And here's the truth: when you understand people, you don't excuse their behavior, but you refuse to let it poison your peace. Jim Rohn used to say, "It's easy to be critical. It takes wisdom to be understanding." Criticism is the lazy path. It requires no depth, no empathy, no growth. But understanding takes patience and maturity. It takes the strength to hold back your assumptions, and look deeper. It means choosing to ask questions instead of making conclusions. What can I learn here? What might this person be teaching me about myself? That's where wisdom begins. When you live in understanding, you don't absorb negativity, you analyze it. You become an observer of human behavior, not a prisoner of it. Instead of saying, "That person ruined my day," you begin to think, "That person revealed where I still need growth." See the difference? One mindset gives your power away, the other takes it back. And here's something else: understanding doesn't mean agreeing. You can disagree with someone's actions and still understand their pain. You can walk away from toxic people while still wishing them healing. You can say, "I see you," without saying, "I'll tolerate your behavior." Understanding doesn't weaken your boundaries, it strengthens them. Because when you understand why someone acts out, you stop personalizing their behavior. You keep your balance while they lose theirs. The moment you stop judging others, your world becomes lighter. You begin to see life with clearer eyes. You realize that no one wakes up hoping to fail or hurt someone. People act from their conditioning, their fears, their experiences. And so do you. That's why we all need grace, because we're all learning how to be better versions of ourselves. So the next time you feel anger rising, pause and shift your question. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with them?" ask, "What might have happened to them?" Instead of saying, "I can't believe they acted that way," say, "Maybe I've acted that way once too." That's how understanding grows, through humility and self-reflection. Trading judgment for understanding doesn't just change how you see people, it changes how you live. You start to move through the world lighter, calmer, more peaceful. You don't waste energy condemning others, you invest it in growing yourself. You stop fighting to be right and start working to be kind. And kindness, my friend, is a far greater power than judgment will ever be. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't need more critics, it needs more listeners. More people willing to say, "I may not agree, but I understand." That's the kind of person who changes the atmosphere in every room they walk into. That's the kind of person who never gets angry or bothered by anyone, because they've learned to see beyond behavior into the human heart. Your energy is your most valuable currency. It's the invisible force that determines how you think, how you act, and how you show up in the world. Yet most people spend it carelessly arguing, overthinking, explaining themselves to those who will never understand, chasing approval from people who don't even value them. But the truth is this: your energy is limited, and once you spend it, you don't get it back the same way. That's why you must protect it like it's treasure, because it is. Every day, life presents you with two kinds of interactions: those that fuel you and those that drain you. Some people light you up, others dim your spirit. Some conversations leave you inspired, others leave you exhausted. You can't avoid all the negative influences, but you can control how much access they get to your peace. Not everyone deserves front row seats in your life. Some people belong in the balcony. Some don't belong in the theater at all. Jim Rohn used to say, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." He wasn't just talking about habits and goals. He was talking about energy. Spend too much time with complainers, and soon you'll find something to complain about. Spend time with people who dream, and your vision expands. Your environment is constantly shaping you, even when you don't realize it. That's why guarding your energy isn't selfish, it's survival. Think of your energy like a phone battery. Every notification, every argument, every unnecessary worry drains a little more of your charge. If you don't plug into peace, purpose, and gratitude, you'll wake up one day completely drained, snapping at people, losing motivation, feeling empty. Protecting your energy means being intentional about where you focus your attention. Not every battle deserves your sword. Not every comment deserves your response. Sometimes silence is the smartest reply. Learn to walk away gracefully. You don't have to explain, defend, or convince anyone of your worth. You just need to protect your focus. When you stop wasting energy trying to control how others see you, you regain power over how you see yourself. The most peaceful people in the world aren't the ones who avoid challenges. They're the ones who decide not to waste emotional fuel on things that don't matter. And let me tell you, there's a big difference between protecting your energy and building walls. Protecting your energy isn't about avoiding people or living in isolation. It's about creating healthy boundaries, knowing when to engage and when to let go. It's about saying, I love you, but I won't let your chaos live in my mind. Boundaries aren't barriers. They're filters that let love in and keep toxicity out. Protecting your energy also means managing your internal world. Sometimes it's not others draining you, it's your own thoughts. Worry, guilt, regret, and fear are silent thieves. They consume more energy than any argument ever could. That's why you must learn to quiet your mind. Take time each day to recharge, pray, meditate, read, reflect, breathe. A calm mind is a fortress no negativity can penetrate. Remember, your peace is your responsibility. No one will protect it for you. The world will always ask for more. More time, more effort, more of your attention. But wisdom is knowing when to say enough. You can't pour from an empty cup. Refill your own energy first, so you can give from a place of strength, not exhaustion. When you start treating your energy like treasure, you'll notice something miraculous. You stop being easily offended. You stop overreacting. You stop chasing validation. You become centered, grounded, unshakable. You realize that not every noise deserves your notice. You learn to smile at the small things and walk away from the nonsense. Because at the end of the day, protecting your energy isn't just about staying calm. It's about preserving your power. Every time you refuse to let negativity in, you invest in your growth. Every time you choose peace over reaction, you strengthen your spirit. Every time you walk away from chaos, you walk closer to clarity. And that's how strong people move through the world, not by controlling everything around them, but by mastering what's within them. Guard your energy, my friend, for it is the foundation of your happiness, your purpose, and your success. Treat it like gold, and it will take you further than any amount of effort ever could. Life is a constant invitation to react. Someone cuts you off in traffic, a co-worker disrespects you, a friend disappoints you. And in that split second, your emotions rise like fire. The instinct to react is strong, almost automatic. But here's the truth. Reaction is what the world expects from you. Response is what wisdom demands of you. The difference between the two is the difference between chaos and control, between regret and growth, between living on impulse and living with intention. Reaction is fast, it's emotional, unfiltered, and often destructive. It's what happens when anger speaks before reason does. It's the sharp reply you later regret, the decision you wish you'd thought through, the emotional explosion that solves nothing but creates everything you didn't want. When you live in reaction, you live as a puppet to circumstance. Every word, every mood, every event can pull your strings. You may think you're in control, but really, the world is controlling you. Response, however, is strength in motion. It's calmness under fire. It's the moment you decide, I will not let this situation define me. When you choose to respond, you don't suppress your emotions. You master them. You take a breath, you think, you observe, and then you act from clarity, not chaos. That's what separates the wise from the impulsive. Jim Rohn once said, "Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom." Challenges will never stop coming. Life is full of them. But when you grow in wisdom, you stop being a victim of your reactions. You begin to see that not every comment needs a comeback. Not every argument needs your participation. Not every storm deserves your presence. You learn to pick your battles not out of fear, but out of focus. Choosing response over reaction doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about peace more than proving a point. It means you've decided that your emotional stability is worth more than being right. It means that you refuse to hand over control of your day to someone else's behavior. Because every time you react, you give power away, but every time you respond, you take it back. Here's the secret. Response is born in the pause. That small moment between what happens and how you act, that's where your growth lives. The pause is where wisdom has room to speak. It's where you remind yourself, I don't have to attend every argument I'm invited to. The pause doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It allows you to choose words that build instead of destroy, decisions that heal instead of hurt. Have you noticed how calm people have an aura of strength? It's not that they never get angry. It's that they've trained themselves not to be ruled by it. They've learned that calm is not the absence of emotion. It's the mastery of it. They respond strategically, not impulsively. They understand that sometimes silence says more than 1,000 words, and walking away is louder than shouting back. When you choose response over reaction, you also start seeing the bigger picture. You realize that not everything deserves a piece of your energy. You begin to ask, will this matter in a week, in a month, in a year? Most of the time it won't. And when you know that, you stop wasting precious emotional fuel on temporary frustrations. You begin to focus on what actually moves your life forward. Your goals, your growth, your peace. Choosing response is an act of self-respect. It's you saying, I'm not going to let others decide how I feel or who I become. It's leadership of the highest order, the leadership of self. Because the one who can control their own emotions is the one who can lead others with clarity and confidence. The one who can stay centered when others lose control becomes the anchor in every room. So, the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this simple truth. Your reaction may last a moment, but its consequences may last a lifetime. Take the pause, choose the higher ground, because maturity isn't how loud you get, it's how calm you stay. The stronger person is never the one who shouts the most, but the one who stays silent long enough to think clearly. In the end, you can't control what people do, but you can always control how you respond. And that's where real freedom begins. When you master your response, nothing and no one can steal your peace. You become untouchable not because the world stops testing you, but because you stop letting it control you. That's not avoidance. That's emotional intelligence. That's strength. And that's how you live unbothered in a world that loves to push buttons. My friend, never forget, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. The world will always have difficult people, critics, and chaos, but you don't have to let them inside your mind. Guard your peace, master your emotions, understand others, protect your energy, and choose your response. Because when you do, you'll discover one of life's greatest victories, the ability to stay calm in a noisy world. And that, my friend, is real power.